Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. It's not a story, it's just data coming right out of these important groups that, look, mortgages are on the rise. Man, this is what happens when you go live. The ninja just, poof, everything in the mind goes away. Delinquencies on mortgages are on the rise, and I'm going to show you some data. And I'm going to show you data that goes back to 2007, and you're going to get to see what happened in 2008 with delinquencies. And since 2010, we have seen delinquencies on mortgages, right? Those mortgages or people aren't paying on time, where they eventually lead to foreclosures, on the downcline until just this last year, year and a half. And what the data is showing is something already on a percentage basis that is way worse than we're seeing back in 2008. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Check this out. Just some headlines to go over right now. From 3 days ago, Starwood defaults on $212 million Atlanta office mortgage. Mortgage defaults fully explained by Chase. Why would they have to explain this? Delinquency rate for mortgage loans are on the rise. That was back in February. Developer of housing project in San Jose defaults on loan. That was from a few months ago. Mortgage delinquency rise from historic low. So these are just some headlines that have been popping up, and I want to bring you to a website, and it's consumerfinance.gov. If you want to go ahead and take a look at it, pretty slick site. And on there, we're going to go over the section in consumerfinance.gov where it talks about mortgages that are between 30 and 89 days delinquent. Now, what's important to know that is on the 30th day, when you miss your first payment, you now go delinquent on your loan, right? But between the days of 30 and 89, you're in this gray period, this spot where you can still catch up. But at 90 days, certain things are triggered, and the banks now start moving on taking your home. And there's a process for that, right? You would consider this, the day 30 mark to day 89, as quote unquote pre-foreclosure, all right? Talking about foreclosure, also, guys, I got to mention the pre-filming discount for the Foreclosure Pro class, where we brought in the owner of it's the largest privately held foreclosure company in the nation. We are done. We've wrapped filming. Editing's done. It's getting, their last 3 videos are being uploaded right now. The $200 discount, which is 80% off, will be done by tomorrow night. So I'll put that in the top line description if you want to take a look at it. But talking about this is really important. It says the 30 to 89 day mortgage delinquency rate is a means delinquency and can be an early indicator of health. It captures borrowers that have missed their payments. Now, what's really sad about this site, go figure, it's a government site, right? Check this out. I can't even read the entire thing. It's not even made for mobile, okay? But check this out. These are some things I wanted to talk to you about. It literally goes right off the screen, and I cannot shrink it down. It is literally not mobile friendly. But it says, a view of mortgage delinquency rates and trends. The interactive chart below lets you view the 30 to 89 day delinquency rate. It could do national, which we're going to go over. Then it actually breaks it down to state, metro area, and non-metro area by state, okay? Again, a really good website to go over. And this is something that I'm going to reference in the future, and I'll do full like Zoom videos for you guys and go through the site, okay? But this is the national, okay? Now this is the percentage of mortgages between 30 and 89 days delinquent, the national average, from January of 2008 to December of this last December, okay? And this is what I want to show you. I do not know why my phone, let's reboot this. Why is there we go. There we go. Now I can see the whole screen. I had to reboot it. Okay, so here we go. This is the chart right here. From January of 2008, right here, you can see it was dipping, right? It was actually dipping. Seasonal adjustment right there. And then you could see this spike. Now that spike happened the year of 2008 to 2009. And ever since mid-2009, you can see that the trend has been down. Then you can see right here in 2020 where it spiked completely low. That means very, very few delinquencies were happening. Now that delinquency rate in 2009 was a little above 4%. It was about 4.25%, right? But you have to realize the average delinquency rate back then, before the Great Recession started, was a little over 3%. So you saw a jump of 1%, or give or take a few percentage points, right? So now you're sitting there looking at this, you're like, okay, it went up, it increased by, let's say, 33% overall, the amount of foreclosures. To where it stopped, it started to level out a little bit, still frequently going up and down. In 2020, completely collapsed, right? It was around March of 2020. The reason why is because there was a foreclosure moratorium put on the entire country because people were being forced not to work. They were being forced to stay home. A lot of people were living off of government stimulus, right? Then it really bottomed in earnest on May of 2021. And you can see the chart right here where it says May of 2021. That is where it hit its bottom. Now, if you remember that right then, inflation hadn't really started. Inflation didn't really start until, or people realizing inflation was making the headlines until September of 2021. And then by December of 2021, the Federal Reserve came out and said, you know what, we're going to start raising rates. But we're not going to do that until 3 or 4 months into the future in 2022. Since then, inflation kept running up, and then the Fed met that resistance, those higher prices, with higher mortgage rates, higher borrowing costs, higher credit card costs, things like that, right? So now you see where we're at now. Look at since that May, look at the rise that's starting to go up on a percentage basis. Or you may sit there and go, Ninja, this is nothing compared to 2008, but it is. It's actually worse on a percentage basis. It's massive, the increase, but also you have to remember that we are just now coming out of moratoriums. And because it takes a bank 90 days for you to miss 3 payments, 3 30-day payments, to be able to start to act, and then once you start to realize the foreclosure process, you'll see why in the next 6 months you are going to see charts like this explode higher. Because we are in that amazing circle of the storm where notices of defaults are being mailed out to homeowners. There are homeowners that are trying to work with their banks, and the banks are seeming like they want to work with you, but they're not. And there are delinquencies stacking up and stacking up and stacking up until you see this winter, well, really actually even into the late fall, you're going to see these numbers absolutely explode. So now it says here, the mortgage delinquency rates by month. This is another figure I wanted to show you. And actually the percentages of mortgages that are 30 to 89 days out, viewed by state. And when you notice it, the darker blue is the most in this map, this interactive map. The darkest blue is the states that have the most delinquency rates, right? And you'll notice on this map, you'll see California is in light blue. Like pick out what state, let me know what state you're from right now, right? The darkest blue is 5% delinquency rate. You'll notice that states like California that are really strong and hell-bent on allowing people to stay in their homes and not have their homes taken, they have been forcing banks to keep working with their clients, right? It's very similar to the rent moratorium where they say, landlords, you're not allowed to charge more. And that just spells utter disaster because what happens? The landlords pull out of the state, they sell their properties, they add more inventory to the market, and it exacerbates the real estate crash. And so you are going to see states like California turn dark blue. And the reason why is because a lot of these banks are held back from actually reporting certain things because they're being forced, just like in 2020, when you saw that percentage of foreclosures, the delinquency rate drop. It's not that people weren't delinquent, it's banks could not go and tell anyone or do anything about it. They could not start that paperwork process, which triggers data to be recorded on these websites. That's why I believe that in the next 3 to 4 months, you are going to see an absolute spike vertical of foreclosure. And that's why we put out the Real Estate Foreclosure Pro course, because we want people to be prepared for that. Now, I just want to bring you that little bit of information, but I'm going to start doing more interactive videos where I'm showing you these sites and clicking through them, because I think it's very important information. But I just wanted to do a video on this channel and say that that pre-filming discount is going to be gone by tomorrow night. So Saturday night at midnight, we're setting it because the course is done. It's complete. I think there's 14 lessons on there. Taught to you by a professional that not only owns the company, but is a professional bidder for these banks. Totally interesting, totally amazing. How to get into these auctions, how to find the foreclosure list for free. If you're going to pay for them, what to watch out for. Really, really good information. Guys, I hope you got something out of this. I'll put the 80% off discount link. It's $199 after tomorrow. Done. All right, guys, that being said, the Real Estate Ninja is out.